Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is the only way up. And today's topic is Elon Musk. He's been making some big headlines around the globe these last few weeks. First was the autonomous driving taxi. Then there was the robots, and then we had the super heavy rocket that landed back on the chopsticks. So quite big technological advances, creating a lot of discussion, and very impressive. You have to say, it's very impressive. What do you think of all of this?
So yeah, it's been quite a big week for technology. You mentioned there three tech developments. You had the reusable rocket that came back down to Earth and caught by the chopstick. You had the robots, and then you had the robotaxi, as they called it, which was the driverless vehicle. So Elon Musk is a bit of an enigma. What you got to keep in mind is what Elon Musk has done is he goes into industries where there's very little competition because these are risky industries. So you look at electronic vehicles, the electric batteries. You've got his space program. These are all sectors of the future with very little competition because companies don't see them as profit making. In fact, they require a lot of investment, and you ain't making a profit for at least 20 years. So, because these are important sectors, these are sectors that get some of the largest amount of subsidies by government. So this is it's actually quite important. Elon Musk is making a lot of money from taxpayers' money. All these areas, reusable rockets, robots, and driverless vehicles, these are areas where a lot of companies don't go into because the final commercial project is too far away. It's not worth an investment. So this is what Elon Musk has been doing. So the taxpayer really has been funding these developments without them actually realizing. So Elon Musk will obviously claim credit for it. And yeah, they've done some work, but without these subsidies, without these investment by the government, he wouldn't be where he is. Now, interestingly, Shani, if you look at America, the infrastructure is crumbling, poverty is increasing, the education standards are rock bottom, the healthcare is out of the reach for everybody. There's no money for these, but we seem to have money to go out of space, into deep space. We seem to be throwing money at having a colony out in Mars. So there's a big problem with priority here. It's you can't solve issues on Earth, but you want to solve issues out there in deep space, and this has always been a problem. If you look at America's space program, if you look at in Europe, even in India, when India was sending satellites to Mars, the question was, you don't even have enough toilets for your population in your country, but you're pouring money into these commercial projects. And again, these commercial projects will benefit certain investors. It will not benefit most of the country. So they will try and argue, yeah, but there's wider implications of these technology and things like that. But technology will not put food on the table. Technology will not improve your healthcare. That's really the issue at stake here. Now, robots for a lot of Western countries of declining populations, robots is a solution to this. So elderly people having robots to take care of them because your population is in decline. So robots, when it comes to Japan and Germany, they do see robotics as a solution to this problem. So rather than looking at why are people not having children, why are people forgoing children, they are solving it by actually designing robots. But as your population declines, you're collecting less taxes. You've got less people in the army. It's going to have a knock-on effect. The reusable rocket really is very, rocket. The biggest problem you had going into space, Shani, is the rockets that are used to get the craft into space was very costly, and you can only use it once. So what Elon Musk has done, and what we saw the other day, was a reusable rocket. So what these rockets do, they are connected to a spacecraft. It will take it into outer space, and then these reusable rockets will come back to be used again. It's a bit like you get a car, you only use it once, and you can't use it again. That's a massive cost. That's why the achieved. There's still a long way to go yet. That was a very successful test. There's still a long way to go. But going out of space, how does that really benefit your average person? There's a serious question mark over there. And then the third invention that we saw was the robotaxi or the driverless vehicles. Now, driverless vehicles have been around for a while because of the developments in semiconductor chips, because of the developments in processing, we now have effectively computers in a car with lots of sensors, and they can crunch everything the sensor's getting, what is filming, objects. So we're getting to a point now where you could potentially take the driver out of the driving seat and you basically effectively leave it to a computer. There's still a long way to go yet, Shani, because insurance, liability, these sort of things have to be dealt with. And secondly, these driverless vehicles can't really deal with bad weather. What if a person's crossing and it can't, can it tell the difference between a person in different colors? So there's still a long way to go. But, for me, Shani, there seems to be enough money available to invest in these areas. But in areas where America and the West need money, there's not enough money. We've got to tighten our belt. We've got to do austerity. That's what we seem to be getting there. So it really, there's a massive problem with priorities here.
That's right. Yeah, I do think this aspect of uh, being a global leader, a leader for humanity, and this technological advancement, I think that there's almost like a contradiction going on here in terms of people are suffering with their mental health. There's going to be a euthanasia debate, assisted dying debate in the UK. There's a fentanyl epidemic in the UK, in America, sorry. And at the same time, they're making plans to have a base on the moon and regular flights to Mars. It's like, what is going on in terms of priorities, in terms of what do people want, what's going to help people. There's a big debate in the US elections about medical bills. People can't afford their medical bills, and we've got the valuation of the companies going through the roof that are able to potentially send a person to Mars. So I think when people are watching from afar, yeah, very impressive technology, very impressive innovation, but as a leading nation, as a nation, uh, is it completing the full package in delivering for its people? I think it's going way off mark, way off tack, and you can see in the election debates, the whole discussion is around the people's problems, and this is almost like become a sideshow for America, for its standing in the world. But the real issues are what's happening on the ground, people's pay packets, people's bills, people's cost of living. So I think there, it's a mixed picture of America being the leading nation in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the tech side, the dominance of America and Europe is now being challenged. Russia, we don't get much media coverage, but China regularly is sending probes into space. It managed to land a probe on the dark side of the moon. We just don't get much coverage of this because we're used to America and Europe dominating future technologies, future industries. In fact, there's an Australian think tank. They analyze future technology every year, and they look at which countries lead in it. And what they found, and they base this on how much research is going into technologies and how many times papers are quoted by experts of these countries. And what they're finding is in all the industries of the future, China, in 80 to 90% of them, China leads. Now, China hasn't necessarily commercialized all these technologies yet, but that's still unique because for the last 50, 60, 70 years, really, apart from Japan, really the West and America and Europe have led in this area. So we are seeing the global balance of power being challenged. We are seeing areas like education and science and technology where the West have dominated. Now they're actually being challenged. So, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, you've now got a real challenge in areas where the West have been so dominant: education, technology. In all these areas, you're finding China is really made a lot of strides, and their positions are being challenged. And whilst Elon Musk may be leading in some of these areas for the moment. China is also developing in many, many areas, but that's just not given much media coverage by the West.
Yeah, I think the last area that I've been thinking about is on Elon Musk himself. There's debate is he going to be the first trillionaire? Documentaries. What made Elon Musk? How did he become like he is? What drives him? Interviews about him. Talking to family members, former employees, and it's almost like we need to know. What makes this guy tick. We need to understand how he's got to where he is and does what he does. And all ultimately all he's using is the understanding of the universal laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made of how he's made the universe, how he's made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the materials interact, the measures, and it's just innovating on the back of that. And it reminds me of Surah in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 33, He said, O Adam, inform them of their names. And by the tafsir of this, by the names, is not just the names, but understanding of what it is, how to use it, what does it mean, what can you do with it. And when he informed them of their names, he said, Did I not tell you that I know that the unseen of the heavens and the earth, and I know what you reveal and what you have concealed. And all Elon Musk is essentially doing is taking the knowledge of the universe and innovating on the back of it. Innovating on the back of it. And that's all the development of all technology has ever been and will always be. They've not created new stuff per se, as in giving something a quality that was unable to have a quality. Rather, the quality was always there. Utilizing the knowledge to get some benefit out of it. That is the innovation. That is the advancement. That is the usefulness that we take from it. But rather than Elon Musk, the correct understanding, the correct thankfulness, the correct graciousness, the correct mightiness belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as he's the one that's put it in there. So I think this whole focus on Elon Musk is is incorrect. Rather than it should be a focus towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's given us these materials, these items that we can innovate with and benefit humanity with. So Jazakallah khair for your thoughts, and I'm sure we'll speak again. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.